All right, welcome to another edition of Donegan's Picks. This is the Week 9 edition. Um, Last week it was a hard week. It was a really hard week. Went 7-6, which is still above 500, but there were just so many close matchups that came down to the wire that it was almost impossible um, to go a little better than that. Even the best ESPN analyst only went 8-5, so that shows you how hard of a week it was. That brings my 2 week total up to 17 and 10. 17 and 10. So I think I'm doing pretty well out of 27 games to go 17 and 10. Lost some big games last week. The Saints came through, finally looked like a team, and they actually exposed a lot of weaknesses in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been rolling so far, so we didn't really know that what was going to happen. That was a pretty big win for them. I also predicted that the Green Bay Packers would beat the Jets. A lot of people thought I was crazy, maybe even downright ludicrous for picking that. But as I showed, the Green Bay Packers defense matched the Jets defense and played even better than the Jets defense. We did what we had to do. Mark Sanchez made him throw the ball, like I said, and he couldn't come up with the big plays. And that's one of the things that he's struggling with this whole entire year. Jets defense, got to hand it to him. 9 points with an Aaron Rodgers. You know, pretty good showing, but your offense just couldn't get it done. Five drops by your receivers on some very catchable balls that hurt you guys a lot. So let's go ahead and go to this week's picks. First, I got Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta's on a roll right now. They're playing really well. Tampa Bay, they haven't really played anybody, so I'm gonna have to go with Atlanta on this one. We got Chicago at Buffalo. This is a really, really hard pick because Buffalo has yet to win. Chicago has terrible offensive production. So, as much as I hate to do this, I'm going to have to go with the Bears on this one. I think the Bears are going to pull out a win. Buffalo is going to be sitting at 0 and 8. We got New England at Cleveland. No doubt on this one. New England is one of the best teams. What I like about New England is they take subpar players in college and make them studs. One of my new favorite players, Danny Woodhead, go ahead and look him up. He holds the D2 rushing record for his career with over 8,000 yards in 4 years. That's a lot of yards. He's like 5'7". Looks like Welker, which Welker was another one that they randomly transformed into a really good receiver. So I'm gonna have to go with New England on this one over Cleveland. We got the New York Jets at Detroit. Like I said, the Jets, they played almost lights out football. 3 field goals is not that bad to give up in a game. And normally in a game like that, you would win by only giving up 3 field goals. But I guess they just couldn't match the Packers because the Packers defense played really well. I'm going to go with the Jets easily over the Lions on this one. Um, Arizona at Minnesota. Brett Favre controversy. I'm tired of talking about it. Everybody knows that he's a scumbag. He got what was coming to him last week. Made my day seeing him crawl off in the fetal position last week when he was getting carted to the locker room. I think Packers fans, I think we're finally over the Brett Favre. We're better with Aaron Rodgers because he is obviously, costing his team a lot of, I guess I'd say, tears. Brad Childress probably going to get fired by the end of the year. They released Randy Moss. Don't know what that's going on. You can't dispute a Hall. Why would you release a Hall of Famer? But still with that, Arizona still not looking very good. Well, I'm gonna have to go with Minnesota on this one. New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina's got one win. New Orleans showed a little glimpse of the Super Bowl team that they were last year. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with New Orleans on this one. They played lights out against the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I think we're gonna go with New Orleans. Got Miami at Baltimore. Miami was a hot team starting out the season, but they've tailed off a little bit. I think Baltimore's going to take this one with some stellar defense. Then Joe Flacco, he's probably going to hook up with Derek Mason this week. Just go ahead and throw that one out there. Shout out to Derek Mason. I think their defense is just going to be able to hold them this week. Miami, they used to be the Wildcat team. Now, if you look at their stats, the Wildcats averaging under 3 yards a carry, which was, it was at 9 or 10 yards a carry 2 years ago when they first introduced it. So we're going to have to go with, we're going to go Baltimore in this one. Got San Diego at Houston. Houston lost to the Colts, but they showed some glimpses of the Houston that won. Arian Foster, I think he's probably going to go off against San Diego. And We'll see how Schaub does, but I'm predicting a big week from him there. New York Giants at Seattle. The Giants are playing some of the best ball out right now. Ahmad Bradshaw and Brand Jacob, the two-headed monster. Eli Manning, I think he comes out and throws for a big game all over Seattle. Pete Carroll, you're not getting another win this week. Kansas City at Oakland. You would have asked me this matchup 3 weeks ago, I would have said Kansas City hands down. But Oakland putting up 59 points one week and then going and beating a San Francisco team, which is very underrated for the record. I'm gonna have to go with Oakland on this one. They're playing some great ball, and hopefully Darren McFadden he'll get that out. Oakland's actually leading the league in rushing, which that's kind of ridiculous right now to think that the Raiders are leading the league in rushing. But Darren McFadden on my fantasy team, give me some big points this week. Indianapolis at Philadelphia. I got the Colts in this one. I don't think Philadelphia, this may be Michael Vick's first week back. You got Deshaun Jackson back. I still think they're going to take another week to mesh together in this one. So let's go ahead and pick Indy on this one. I think Peyton Manning's too much of an orchestrator to let this one slip under his belt. We got the Sunday night game, which is Green Bay at the Dallas Cowgirls. I can't say enough about Green Bay, but I also can't say enough bad stuff about Dallas. Wade Phillips should have been fired by now. Their team is celebrating touchdowns when they're 1-6, costing them 15-yard penalties. That's just lack of discipline and lack of coaching. Tony Romo, he's out. So you've got John Kitna threw 4 interceptions last week. He's obviously not on the same page with his receivers. He hit Jason Witten in the helmet with a ball last week because he made the throw a lot earlier than he should. I just think that they're not on the same page. They're going to crack under pressure this week, and Green Bay is probably going to hold them to under 10 points with their defense. Their defense shut out the Jets, and the Jets have such a better offense than Dallas does. Got Monday night. We've got Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati has yet to put together a full, complete, good game. Pittsburgh bounces back from their loss to the defending Super Bowl champs Saints last week, and they are going to win this game. One note on the Green Bay game. If you go online on ESPN.com and you look at some of the picks, there are 2 guys picking Dallas, which, I don't really understand why there are 2 guys picking Dallas. Adam Schefter is one of those, and that's just downright ludicrous. They're 1-6. Green Bay's defense held the Jets to 0 points. Adam, I don't know what's going on with you, but that's definitely going to be a loss in your category. I got some flack last week for even harping on the Bears and Jay Cutler, in specifically Jay Cutler, and with my come on man. But I've got a couple. We're gonna change it up this week, and we're gonna harp on a different part of the Bears, which is their offensive line. Flat out terrible. I remember they allowed 10 sacks in one game. Just a little, just throw that out there. That's the number of sacks that the Ravens, Dolphins, and Bengals have allowed all year. 10 sacks. Each of those teams have only allowed 10 sacks. The Chiefs have allowed 8, and the Colts have allowed 7. Less sacks than the Bears allowed in one game. And guess who leads the league in giving up sacks? The Bears. 31 sacks. That's pretty terrible, not to mention the fact that it's 8 sacks more than the number one team, than the team that's trailing them, which is allowing 23 sacks, which is the Washington Redskins. So it's just terrible. So we're gonna harp on the Bears offensive line this week. 2 quarterbacks knocked out in that 10-sack game. Cutler has just not cut it all year. But we're not going to talk. I'm not allowed to talk about him this week. We're gonna take a game off. Probably, I'm not going to give him 4 interceptions this week. I don't think he throws that many. But we're just going to go with the Bears offensive line with a big come on, man. So that's my pick for the week, and go ahead and book those picks.